Now, I was told I have more time, but watch me start my stopwatch now. First, I want to say thank you. Thank you to our honorees today. Thank you for sharing your story. I'm not ready to deliver this because I am really in my spirit so just pleased and honored and in awe of the work that's been done and the work and the ways that God has touched your families and your hearts. So thank you for that. I'm going to rein it in and get back to what I was here for, but just thank you. I really appreciate you sharing your story. I'm here to talk about today transformational partnerships. Now, transformational partnerships, it's the thing that takes us to the next level, right? We always talk about how none of this is in a solo endeavor, right? You've heard no woman or no man is an island, right? We do this together. And as we start talking and thinking about partnerships, I want to emphasize for the entrepreneurs in the room, the transformational part. Because transformation takes power. It takes creativity. It takes time. And it takes patience. But that power is really what I want to lean on just in the beginning of this conversation, because it's been a tough few months. And we, as entrepreneurs, because I am also myself an entrepreneur in the service industry. I see you, sister, in this coaching world. And as an entrepreneur, we are the ones that bring the power. We're the ones that bring the transformational power in our communities. And I want to start right there. Just talking about the effects that entrepreneurs have on their communities. I want to remind you of who you are, just in case these past 19 or 20 months has caused any bit of doubt in your mind about who you are and what your power accomplishes in your community. First, I want to just lay it all down. Entrepreneurs create, expand, and reclaim our neighborhoods and communities. When we talk about creating communities, you see it because it turns into monetary gain. So the coffee shop phenomenon, right? We've heard about this, this is 10, 15 years ago, right? Entrepreneurs, they land at a coffee shop, they use the free Wi-Fi. They're the freelancers, they're the folks who are working behind their computers. It was such a cool, trendy thing, right? So cool and trendy that those entrepreneurs created an industry of co-working spaces, right? Now, everywhere you look, there's a co-working space where entrepreneurs can come and rest assured there's free Wi-Fi and coffee, right? Another area where entrepreneurs have created, when they come together, have created community is right there online. So think about bloggers, the mommy bloggers, the vloggers, the fashion, like outfit of the day is a hashtag thing because there's some folks out there who love getting dressed up every morning, right? And watching the influence, I sat in on the marketing speaker a little bit earlier, but watching the influence of those people, corporations, private folks are like, wait a minute, they've created a community that's going to follow them and look at what they say. And boom, brand sponsorships. I'm telling you, the power that entrepreneurs have is real. The other area is around expansion. When there is an entrepreneur, and again, I'm so grateful for all of the examples that just walked across here. Thank you guys for making this real easy for me. I wanted to start with workforce development, right? We're literally talking about a mother and son team that's hiring other teens, younger people. Workforce development comes from our entrepreneurs. And here's an interesting thing about our communities of color. Businesses of color, the first 5 people that they hire are usually people of color, right from their community that they've known all their lives. When you start to hear things about our under-resourced places or our low to moderate income, the truth is it's really underestimated. And those folks bring the dollars because it's not just workforce development, it's economic development. In my past life, I was an economic development manager for a small city in Maryland. And I'm telling you, if our entrepreneurs were not supported, we saw it financially in our budget every year. This is the taxes, the income, and then just the financial investment in the community. This is the power of entrepreneurship. It doesn't feel like it when it's just you. It doesn't feel like it when the proposal wasn't accepted. It doesn't feel like it when you can't find another person to help you get the work done. But the truth is, this is your power. You create, you expand community. And finally, our entrepreneurs have the power to reclaim community. The first thing that comes to my mind, again, as an economic developer, is really property and the reclamation of property and community presence. I've done a lot of my work in Washington, D.C. And D.C., I've been there for 20 years, and D.C. looks like night and day. There were commercial strips that were long abandoned, long derelict, and it was the entrepreneurs who saw the potential because they knew the history. It was their community, and it was their desire to bring it back. So when I say entrepreneurs reclaim community, they reclaim something that has been lost. They become the advocates. They also support the concept of collective economics. Now, collective economics is not often spoken about because a lot of folks go into business solo. But I want to plug right now for cooperative businesses. Cooperative businesses are businesses that are made up of several folks pooling their resources. And the truth is, it is a business model that is very or highly successful for people of color. So if you can imagine what we used to call them shade tree mechanics. I'm from Jersey. I don't know if anyone has a shade tree mechanic, but your shade tree mechanic and this shade tree mechanic in this community, in that community, coming together and forming a mechanic shop. By themselves, they're operating off the books. They don't have the space. You know, if it's a rainy day, it's all over, you know? But this is something that is about cooperative economics. And I want to give you guys just a really quick visual of one of my favorite entrepreneurs. Her name is Ethel. She saw a, abandoned strip, commercial strip in DC. Wasn't fully abandoned because the liquor store was on the corner and the barbershop was on the other end. In between, not much. And Ethel saw this space and started a self-serve dog wash. A self-serve dog wash. And I wish she was here to tell her story, and I will not, but I'll give you the background. And it's one, that she was a mail carrier, and two, that she was deathly afraid of dogs. Self-serve dog wash. She saw this space, she reclaimed this space, she turned it around and became an advocate along with the liquor store and the barbershop. She became the one to say, what's going on with the lighting around here? Why is it so dark? She was the one to say, you know what? These kids walk across this crazy Georgia Avenue every day. Can we get a crossing guard or something? These are the folks who take their power and put it into community. They are called entrepreneurs. And as we move into partnerships, I do want to give you a visual. This is Ethel. And this is Ethel's doggy, Joy. She doesn't just, have the self-serve dog wash. She expanded into personal grooming. And she dyes Joy's hair every 3 months. At the bottom, you'll see her K9000 self-serve dog wash. And at the top is that strip, that commercial strip I just spoke about. That's in a neighborhood called Shepherd Park. The liquor store is the one far on the corner. That's where the kids cross. And the one that says Shepherd Park on the banner, that's the barbershop. Ethel is our orange washerette banner. She's the one who is really the one to kind of bring the entrepreneurs together. When you start to see your community just going by the wayside, somebody's got to take action, and it's our entrepreneurs. So talking about transformational partnerships, there are 3 types. There's the philanthropic, the community organizations, or the nonprofits, right? And then there are our entrepreneurs. And we're going to talk about partnerships in those 3 areas. First, talking about philanthropy. So, money is great. How many people like money? Are you good with money here? Because if you don't, this might be a problem for you. I like money. And I like money because of the effect that it has on communities. The truth is, money is not power. Money is only a tool. So if you have money, you only have a tool. We already told you what power is about, right? Power is about what the entrepreneurs do. So if you put the tool in the right hands of the people with power, it starts to make sense. So we need transformational philanthropy. What that means is they are community-based. They have knowledge of the community and they are connected to the community. They know who the connectors are. They know Christina. They get invited to Christina's events because they are community-based and they want to know more. They don't want to just be a tool, right? The other transformational power around philanthropy comes when you have a catalytic foundation or a catalytic philanthropist. This means that they are first to move. They're first to support new or proven strategies. And I say proven because they're not investors in the same way, in this risky capital way, right? They are looking for new but proven strategies. So you get something started, you make some inroads, and then they're there, right? This is how they become catalytic. They are igniting the community. They're igniting the solution. And then they tell their friends. They tell their friends. They're like, hey, other folks with all of this tool of money, hey, these guys are doing an amazing thing. Let me introduce you to Christina Long. Let me introduce you to Jonathan. Let me introduce you to Create Campaign. This is what catalytic philanthropy looks like. They're community-based, they're connected to folks, and they are there before anyone else is. Other people will often follow their investments. And lastly, they are flexible. So here's a little bit more about me. I was the founding director of the DC Women's Business Center. And one of the things I hated most about my job was working with foundation partners who gave me a great size grant and a mountain of strings attached. I mean, I remember landing my first $250,000 grant and feeling like, yes, we're going to get the women what they need. These businesses are going to grow. I'm over here looking at you again, Miss Paris, because at the Women's Business Center, I made millionaires by getting them government contracts. You are on the right path, okay? You are on the right path. So being flexible, a mountain of strings attached. So it's great to have the money, but if I know it needs to be spent in this area, but it can only go this way, what am I going to do with that, right? You're doing more of things you don't need and not enough of things that you do need. So when I talk about transformational partnerships, I'm talking about philanthropy that is going to really have an eye to the community. You know them, you see them, you know, Shay, you've been here a while, right? Like, this is what I mean by transformational. There is a different type of energy around these philanthropic partners. Next, let's talk about our organizations, our nonprofits, our community organizations. They also must be community-based to be transformational. But it looks different for them. They are the bridge builders. Oftentimes, they are the folks who lead these organizations in communities that they come from. This is a lived experience that drives the passion that starts these nonprofit organizations, these community organizations. And I call them bridge builders because they are oftentimes the way that the resources get to the people. They're the bridge. You have to travel with someone you trust, right? Think about a bridge. I'm living in New Jersey, which is my home state, and we are very close to New York, and there is a huge bridge to go over, and it's over water. I'm an East Coast girl, so there's many bridges over water, and you have to trust that bridge. That bridge has to really get you there. So community-based organizations that are bridge builders are important, and to really know who they are, you can tell by their leaders. These leaders have what I call a broken-hearted love relationship with their community. Has anyone in the room ever been broken-hearted? You don't have to tell me, hey, I see you in the back. I see you in the back and I feel you. I see you in the back and I feel you. A broken-hearted love relationship with their community. That means even when it's not working, even when they've done the most, they're still there. They're trying to make it work. They're trying to find new solutions to ongoing problems. This is a broken-hearted love relationship. And these folks, these organizations are innovative. They're usually doing something that other people aren't, right? You hear about them and you think, well, that's a good idea. Is no one else thinking of this? Well, that's a great event. That's a wonderful resource. So this innovation piece is another way you know that this is a transformative nonprofit, a transformative community organization. The other piece is one of my favorites because, as I was telling Christina last night, I get paid to make friends. I am literally the managing director of strategic partnerships. That means I go about the country currently through Zoom, and I make friends. I find out who's doing good work, and I connect them to the good work we do at Rising Tide Capital. That's why I'm here today, because I found a new best friend. So with that said, collaboration. Collaboration is another key to knowing whether or not a partner, a nonprofit partner, is transformational. There are often times, especially in small ecosystems, there's a competitive feeling, right? One nonprofit gets a check and other ones are like, oh, yeah, we're happy for you. But it's like that, what do they call it? Like-hate? Like you like-hate their grant, you like-hate their new expansion. But no, this is about really sharing all of the resources and leveraging each other's experience. So these folks are collaborative. They work with other ecosystem builders, other advocates, and other developers. And as Jonathan mentioned, we at Rising Tide are really excited to be working alongside Create Campaign to bring our Rising Tide model here to Wichita. And I'll tell you a little bit about Rising Tide Capital because, again, you guys are here hearing it from me possibly for the first time. But Rising Tide is a really fascinating place. I will say these are two of our entrepreneurs, a mother and son team. I could not have made this up. I could not have made this up. But a mother and son team, and Qasim says that just within his family, his businesses affecting 2 and 3 generations. Y'all know what that's like. We're talking about family, as Christina just said. And these are two of our entrepreneurs, but I want to give you a fuller view of our impact. Rising Tide Capital is 18 years old. We serve about 1,000 entrepreneurs in New Jersey a year, and we serve them in 2 languages, English and Spanish. Our last Community Business Academy graduated 150 entrepreneurs. 47% of that academy was, of those entrepreneurs spoke English, and the other 53% was in Spanish. So we're doing this work, and we're doing it in New Jersey. We've done it for 18 years, and this is what our vision is about. It's about an inclusive community, right? These are all businesses, Black and brown businesses included. All businesses that come together to build resilient communities and to build sustainable economies that include everyone. Here are some of our outcomes, and this is really something that I can easily see here in Wichita. 110 businesses started. This is just in a year. 420 new jobs. Think about it, we've been in a pandemic. 347 strengthened businesses and 246 expanded businesses. I'm all about the expansion. And this is just the basics here. Our survival rates, we're at 80%, and the national average is at about 50 over 5 years. And that's just the basics of survival. And here are the impacts that are, I think, most interesting, because this is how you know the community is transforming. Our businesses had, and actually these are 2019 numbers, so I am going to give you the pandemic update, so you know this isn't all just like rose-colored glasses, but 112% increase change in business sales and 58% increase in household income. Now, we all as entrepreneurs know the difference between those two. One is what the business makes, and the other is what walks into the front door of the house. That's the thing that pays the rent. That's the thing that pays the bills, right? The business may pay an employee or two, but that household income is a real game changer, especially because in New Jersey, we deal with the working poverty cycle. Working poverty means you get up every day and work 1 and oftentimes 2 jobs, and you still are struggling. That's working poverty. And it doesn't just, the sad thing isn't 2 jobs and not enough money. The sad thing is that working poverty will work you into the ground. That's a piece that we really do want to address. And for us, that working poverty piece, you can really see in the household income number. And then finally, and this one is actually my favorite, I'm a little bit of a data geek, and I love the numbers. 54% decrease in graduated public assistance. Has anyone ever heard of public assistance? Back in the day, they used to call some of it food stamps, that term welfare, all of that stuff that makes people feel skittish, right? Reduction in use of public assistance. This is key because this is about your own financial independence, your own wherewithal to make your dreams come true. And entrepreneurship brings that. It is a pathway out of working poverty. It is a gateway to dreams, and it's a legacy builder. This is what entrepreneurship is. And I'll give you my 2020 numbers. So for our average business sales, the increase was 84% during the pandemic. Our household income had increased to 62%, and our reduction in use of public assistance has decreased by 60%. So I did want to give you those impact numbers because this is what we're doing. This is what's coming to Wichita. This is how we are coming alongside Christina and the Create campaign team to offer it right here. And just to give you another quick shot of who we serve about 80% people of color, 70% women, and 80% of what the government calls low to moderate income. And finally, by the numbers, we have a huge financial impact in the community. For every dollar, there's $3.80. I mean, what philanthropic partner, transformational partner, is not going to buy into something like that? For every dollar, $3.80 return. So now let's kind of take a pivot here back to the partners. And I do want to say, Christina, I don't know if you've announced any dates, but what is coming is our Community Business Academy, which is a 12-week academy for our entrepreneurs. And along with this is full programming. So coaching and counseling, and then preparing our entrepreneurs for access to capital. So it's really 3 pieces that really wrap around the entrepreneurs. And I don't know if I'm telling the preview to the coming attraction, but we are expecting our Community Business Academy to start here in the spring of 22. So Christina's already building, right? Jonathan, you guys already got the hammers out, right? So with that said, let's pivot back to our partnerships. So the last partnership that can be transformational for entrepreneurs. And it's the piece that, you know it's transformational because it's the piece that increases your capacity, strengthens you, or helps you with your growth potential. We've heard a lot about doing more with less, and that's how you get ahead or that's how you grow. Well, if you are making transformational partnerships, we're talking about doing more with the same, because you've got a partner now. So more with the same. Here's more. Increase in products or services. For example, you have a painting company, right? You paint houses. You partner with a drywall company. Now you have a different set of products to offer your customer. They're there for more than one reason. And immediately, you still do the same thing, but now there's someone co-marketing with you. And it doesn't have to be a business partnership, like you don't have to be under the same LLC, but it could be a business that you work with, right? Create Campaign talks about spending money with each other. That's what this looks like. You can increase your product offering. You can enhance your product offering just by working with other businesses. You can also start your business faster. Remember we talked about the cooperatives? Well, pooled resources actually make these businesses get started faster. I worked with a cooperative organization in New England, and they really were doing some really interesting stuff with laundromats, again, mechanic shops, even, I don't know if you guys have this, do you guys have salon plazas? Where, you know how a barber or a stylist will rent a chair? Well, it's very much like a co-working space for stylists, and they each have their own kind of booth space. So my stylist was a 27-year-old woman, and she has done an amazing job, fast forward 6 years now, and she has expanded her space. She's hired a wash girl, all of that stuff. And it's because she started in a space that was shared with others. So you start business faster, and then you grow your business faster. The laundry service that I was talking about, one was a cooperative of a few people. The other were 3 neighborhood laundromats. And they, in their own neighborhoods, kind of had their own geography. They came together to form a partnership and went after a major contract for the hospital in their community. So think about that. They were each, they had their, 10 years, 15 years. They were the laundromat in this neighborhood. They were 2 were laundromats, 1 was a dry cleaners. And here they are now doing wash service for the entire hospital system. This is about growing faster. That's a transformational partnership. But ooh-wee, what it took to team two laundromats, a dry cleaner, and a cooperative. It takes something, it really does. But once it comes together, you find that transformational energy. And then lastly, you know that your partnerships are transformational when you become resilient. When something hits the fan, when it all falls down, when you think it's falling apart, but you're still there. You're still there, despite being in the hospital right before you walk into receive an award. There's something about the resiliency of our togetherness, the resiliency of our unity. When you're looking for partners, you're looking for transformational people with the power to help your resiliency. And the question is normally, so where do you find transformational partners? Well, they are in your networks currently, right? You know some of them. Some of them have come to mind while I'm talking. It's other business owners. And again, I really want to emphasize collaboration, not competition. Just because someone looks like they're doing it better or doing it well does not mean they're your competition. Just because someone's doing it just like you does not mean they're your competition. Again, together, we can get the money from the hospital system, right? After being 15 years in the neighborhood, you're now doing laundry for the hospital system. It's also your mentors, people who you normally go to for advice, the investors, and your professional advisors. So those are the bankers, the attorneys, folks who can really give you an idea of what's missing for your business. I mean, you guys just got started, and if it weren't for your attorney advisors, right, where would you be? You'd be right where you were in 2020, right? And then lastly, friends and family, because my goodness, if we have not seen that right now, right here today, that's where you can begin to find transformational partners. But since we're here in this space, I will also tell you about transformational networking. Now, this is not typical networking. This is networking where you actually have to put your energy and intention into it. So, I'll tell you what networking is not about. It is not about money, because money isn't power, money is just a tool. Networking is not about finding a job. It's not about making a sale. It's not about collecting business cards. Everyone, please keep your business cards and just find me on LinkedIn. Thank you very much. Networking is about connecting with others. That's why I wanted to thank you guys for sharing your story, because we connect through stories, through real life experiences. Networking is about establishing community, right? Because you're the entrepreneurs, you create community. And then it's about finding others who share your vision. I first met Christina on Zoom, as I meet lots of my new friends nowadays. And it was love at first sight. When she started talking about Wichita, Kansas, this girl from Roselle, New Jersey felt like she knew y'all. I felt like I grew up here. I felt like I went to school here. And it's because we had a shared vision about what our community was, what our community is, and what it can be. So when you are thinking about networking, you want to find others that share your vision. And here is, I guess, the biggest piece of networking for me, because again, I get paid to make friends. And this advice is from my mommy. So I'm going to evoke Willie Mae Cook right now and tell you the secret to my job. And it's keeping your hands open. Now, if everyone will take their hands and make 2 fists and hold them in front of you. Now, try to pick something up on your desk, on your tables with those. Is anyone having a hard time? Is everyone, good job. Is anyone having a hard time? So here's the thing. My mom always says when you go into the world, you have to go into the world with your hands open. because you can't receive anything. If someone tries to put something in your hands with your hands closed, you can't receive it. Now, put your fists back out and open your hands. This is the posture of receiving. It's also the posture of giving. So when my mom says, keep your hands open, it's really about giving in order to receive. It's a reciprocal position that you should always stay in. And here are 2 ways to kind of keep that top of mind. These pictures, one is a room full of fantastic folks who are out there and gonna get a whole bunch of business cards for that recycling bin. The other picture, 2 women connecting. 2 women figuring out how to be transformational for each other. And this is how I do it. When I meet someone, I introduce myself. I usually have to say my name more than one time. Samira, like Sam, Samira. I have to say it a couple times. And then I say, so tell me about your business, or tell me about your organization. Tell me what you do. And then I listen. I don't think of what to say next. I don't think of what I can get from this person. I listen. And in the back of my mind, I start asking one question. How can I help? They're talking. How can I help them with that? How can I help? In what way can I help? And if I haven't gotten it by the end of the conversation, I say, how can I help you with your business? How can I help you with your organization? That's where the ground breaks. That's the groundbreaking question. How can I help? So, as you guys are going about your business, out here creating community, reclaiming, expanding community, I want you guys to think about transformational networking. And by the way, when you walk into an event space or any space and you are intentionally there to make a transformational connection, you should really only talk to 2 people. Just 2. Just 2. Not everybody in the room, just 2. Today, I talked to a couple people, but I specifically spoke to 3 entrepreneurs in this room. They happen to be sitting at the same table, but just 2. Because it becomes transformational when there's action. So if you ask, how can I help? You better darn well help. And it's just 2 people. And that's why I asked for 2. So before I leave, here's my call to action, because again, power is about action. I want everyone here to make one transformational connection today. We're at the end of the day, so get on it, okay? One transformational connection. Somebody better hear from you today. How can I help you? How can I help with that? For our philanthropy partners, my call to action is I want you to be catalytic. I don't want you to just be a community resource. I don't want you to just be a funder. I want you to support a new proven solution. I want you to tell your friends about it. I want you to be catalytic. I want you to ignite and move these resources where they belong. Next, our community organizations, our nonprofits. I want you to be collaborative, right? No, I don't care who had the best gala. I don't care who had the best keynote speaker. I don't care about any of that, because that's not your competition. That's who you collaborate with. So anyone who is in a nonprofit place, I want you to reach out to a fellow nonprofit organization and ask them, how are things going? You may or may not get the truth. But then ask them, how can I help? Okay? And then lastly, for our entrepreneurs, I want you guys to keep your hands open, to think about giving, right? It's not about the hustle. It's not about the grind. It's actually about what we create as we work together, that energy that comes from entrepreneurs. So I want you to look for a way to give to this growing entrepreneur ecosystem. We have a community business academy that's starting in the spring. can someone be an instructor? Rising Tide will be training the instructors for these community business academies. Are you interested in being a mentor? Is there any way that you can give back to this ecosystem? Are you hiring young people for their first opportunity, right? So as we close, I do want you guys to remember the call to action. What I did not see, I see some people taking notes, but I didn't see anyone take a picture of the call to action. So I would love you to take out, I did see you take that picture. Thanks. But I would like you guys to take out your phones and take a picture of the call to action, because entrepreneurs are the ones that have the power to transform their communities. There is no such thing as a self-made anybody, not a self-made woman or a self-made man. We only get as far as we are through transformational partnerships. So thank you all very much. There's my contact information. Feel free to take a shot of that and find me on LinkedIn. Thank you very much.